Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, where we'll be discussing the release overview of SpecLink version 25.1. This release was launched on May 17th, the Saturday. My name is Nish Patel, and I'm the Group Product Manager at RIB North Americas, responsible for the collaboration products. We're thrilled to have you join us as we unveil these exciting new developments. To begin with, I want to be uh, discussing about my team. I'm just grateful to have them all with us, presenting and walking you through the release overview. I'm joined here, moving from left to right, by my team consisting of Deborah, who leads product design for SpecLink, Matthew Phillips, the product owner for SpecLinks. Between Deborah and Matt, they're the brains behind the product, and we're grateful for having them on. I'm also joined by Will Kennedy, the product manager for SpecLink, who keeps the glue intact and all of our supporting units together. And my name is Nish Patel. I'm the group product manager. With that being said, and before we dive in any deeper, we still want to re-emphasize a core message. Copyright has been a red hot topic in the specification community of late. There's been lots of talk, some vague, and some not so vague, some threats of legal action, and numerous verbal and online debates around content ownership. These have clouded perceptions, raised fear levels, and eroded trust in uh, software developers like us. We want to be crystal clear at RIB. You own your content at the end of the day. It's your hard work. You should own it free and clear. We respect the value of instruments of service and view rich and unfettered content as an enabler of collaboration, knowledge sharing, and ultimately the growth of the built environment. With that being said, let's jump into the crux of today's webinar. We'll be discussing the key release theme, the key features, spend some time on key enhancements. We have a surprise update on a new initiative, and we would love to share some resources that our SpecLink community could benefit from. Uh, this release is focused on empowering seamless workflows, focused on streamlined content import. We acknowledge that content in an extremely collaborative setting can be developed by different subject matter experts, often external contributors, and it's key for us to facilitate the assimilation of such content into your project manuals, and that's where our focus has been. While we do that, efficiency and speed has always been at the crux of the SpecLink experience. We have enhanced collaboration, made it more smarter, and broken barriers to adoption of collaboration. And an intuitive and exclusive user experience with utmost focus on accessibility has been a core area of focus, especially that of Deborah on our team. And at its core, the database intelligence and the assistive intelligence nature are going to help drive efficiency and impact. With that being said, I'm going to transition into the key features. And the first key feature is going to be presented by Matthew Phillips. Matt, whenever you're ready, I'm going to request you to take over the screen.
Alrighty, we'll do that. So we're going to take a look at the one of the key features, the improvements for the new release of SpecLink Cloud, and that's the improvements for the importing your own content. So we previously had a feature where you could import documents from Word. For those who are familiar with the process, you could import one document at a time. So we have greatly improved that to where now you can import up to 10 documents at one time. And so it's going to give a lot of efficiencies. Instead of going through the same menu one at a time, you can do it in a bulk. So here, the items that are the same from the previous version, the automation settings, auto select all paragraphs on import or not, the convert to enhanced text for choices, global terms, project notes, reference standards, units of measurement, those all function the same as they did previously. The new items with the bulk import, we obviously have the need to have an author associated with each section. So instead of typing in the author for every document you're trying to import, you can set that so the system will append this to the author field automatically for you. You can also choose how the capitalization of the section name is formatted on import, so you have uniformity. So it wouldn't matter really how the capitalization was in the Word document. You can get uniformity on your section name capitalization. And then you have a drop area here. And here's another huge improvement where before you had to scroll to get to the drop area where you could select your files. Now this drop area is always visible. So anytime you're ready to drop your files in, you can do that. You'll notice here we've got an express import and we have a review file. So I'll go over those, both of those quickly here. So I'll start with the express import. And what this does is when I grab a file, assuming it's been pre-formatted correctly for the import, I could drag it in and I can drop it. And with the express import, it'll just go right into the import. So here we got a little notice indicator at the bottom left. And if you can expand that and you can see the progress indicator getting you to completion of the import. That was one document, went pretty quick. You get an interim notification telling you that it was successfully imported, and here's a list. And here's the document that we imported. Now with this, if there was a failed import, you would get a notification here too. Now these notifications only appear for a short time and then they disappear. So that went away on its own. I didn't actually click to close it. But you can always go back to the activity tab under the bell icon and see the results of your import, what's successful, what's failed, and if there's any duplicates. If the import seems to sense that you've got a couple of duplicate sections that you're importing, it'll flag that for you so that you can resolve the differences. It's not going to decide which one to keep and which one not. We'll let you decide that. So you get a full list of what you've imported. So you've got that feature there. Now, if I go back in, and well, I do want to go ahead and open this one up real quick. You can take a look and see. Here you've got your standard formatting for a user section that you brought in, automated reference standards. If there are any choice fields, here's a unit of measurement. There's a reference standard there. So you can see the automation is already kicking in. Now another item on the import is you can use the review files. And this is optional, but you can certainly do this. So I'm going to go ahead and drag in 4 documents this time. And you can use this review files kind of as a QC check rather than doing the express import. Now, if there are any validation errors, we would highlight those in red, and you would actually get the validation highlights if any validations failed on the express import too. So when you expand each card, you can double check the section ID, the author. You can verify that that's the subdivision you want the document to go into, and then you can verify the title. And if you need to make any changes, you can certainly do that. If you happen to do something that's going to invalidate the import, it needs a section ID, so now this lights up in red. So when you go ahead and complete that, you can see everything's blue, black, no red. We're all good to go. And you can check each card. Maybe you want this one to be Acme 2 for whatever reason. And so you can certainly go through and check all of these. And once you're satisfied with these 4 fields, then you can go ahead and continue the import. Now here, I do have one coming up that's apparently I've got a match in my project already. So I'll go ahead and make that 3. And now we're off to the import. And again, you got your progress indicator down here. It's going to take a couple minutes to do 4 files. And so you can do other work. You can go ahead and open up other sections. You can go to other projects, things of that nature while the import is running. If you want to see the full progress, you can go ahead and expand it. You can see we've already got 3 are complete and just 1 more left to go. And you see, and now we got one that failed. Now, whatever the failure reason for that would be, it would be something we can investigate later. But I wanted to show how this would look when you had an item that actually failed, so you can see which document that is. Once the interim notification goes away, again, you can go to the activity tab Here we got 3 successful, 1 failed, and it sensed that one was a duplicate. So it'll tell you this one failed. And it also says, here we've got a duplicate. You got the paper icon, so you can go through and double check the items that got imported and decide if you need to keep both, get rid of one of them, whatever the case might be. So there is a verification just to make sure that you got the results of the import, and then you can go on to your next import batch. Now with the imports, we do have a couple of best practices. I did mention that you want to import. Oh, sorry about that. You want to import a document that's been pre-formatted correctly per the import standards. And most documents, if you have a Word document set up as a specification section, is going to pretty much be set up correctly. But one thing you can watch out for as far as a couple of quick bullet points for best practices, you want to make sure that the section title
Matt,
and
if you don't
yes.
mind, can you switch over to your presentation, which has the best practices listed?
Oh, okay, sure.
We're still
Um,
seeing your SpecLink screen.
how about this?
Yes,
All right, thank
perfect.
you, Nish. All right,
Yeah.
so you want to make sure that the section ID and title at the top of the Word document is correct. If you have any notes that you want to import into a project note, you want to have a row of asterisks above and below the text that comprises the note. If you want to use the automated reference standards, make sure there's a reference standards article in your Word document where you want the references to appear. Make sure the file is not open prior to import. And then if you're new to imports, try importing one, take a look at the results, and then import more when you're satisfied with the results. Now, we do have a document attached to the presentation today, a little more detail on the import best practices, and we'll make that available to everybody so you'll be able to get your hands on that document. And so that, in a nutshell, is the improvements and the new features for the import from Word.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. Matt, can you switch over to the first poll that we would like to run based on the adoption of the import feature? So for everybody on the call, we're going to launch a quick poll uh, based on the import feature. Uh, just give us a couple of seconds. And if you could help us with your feedback, we're trying to understand if you've had the chance to try out the new import feature. And if you're running into some issues, please let us know as well. We would love to speak with you and provide you the support that's needed. Thank you. And we let the poll run for a couple of more seconds, and then we'll transition over to Deborah, who's going to walk us through the next set of features. Awesome. Well, that was a really heartening poll. We do see that a few of you have already started adopting the feature. So thank you so much for doing that. And I see a lot of you are raring to go with that new feature. So we're even more excited to hear your feedback with that. Deborah, whenever you're ready, please feel free to take over.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Nish, and thanks so much, Matt. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Deborah or Deb. I am the product designer. So today I'll be reviewing the collaborative review modes with you all today. So we're just going to go through a few slides, just a quick overview of what I'll be covering today. And then I'll be switching to SpecLink Cloud to get a live demo of these features. So the main thing that we have eliminated here are any content catalog restrictions. So previously, if you were a contributor, you weren't able to actually activate and view this content if it wasn't part of your catalog entitlement. We have now removed all of those restrictions, making it a lot easier and clearer from the system as to what is included in your catalog, as well as what actions you can do. So now when you are going through any section tree in a project, you'll see this visual icon indicator, which is kind of like a triangle with a warning icon. When you hover over that, it's just going to let you know that this section is not included in your access or catalog. However, you may still activate this section. You just will not have edit access to this section. So this really, speeds up project collaboration and really allows teams to move just more seamlessly. After that, we'll be going through some common and view modes. So very similar to that catalog entitlement, we have now opened up the document map. So if you're a contributor, you can easily peruse through a section without having to be restricted in that sense. And there's that quick image of that comment mode enabled. So it'll let us know that you can also unlock and edit depending on your permission levels. And then lastly, we're going to take a look at some real-time collaborator visibility within a section with these active user avatars. These are really great. So one of my favorite additions in this release where you can really collaborate in real time. You can kind of get to see, who's in this section, who's reviewing it together, and it also let you know who is the editor and who are the additional viewers. And then lastly, we're going to review the overhauled share modal. The biggest thing here, it's a huge win for collaboration, is the ability to share up to 20 users at once. So this was originally only one user at a time, which became a very tedious process if you're trying to share to more than one team member at a time. So we really want to open this up, as well as we made some just overall design overhaul changes, such as to the message area, as well as just cleaning up some of that legacy language within that share modal. So now I will transition to SpecLink Cloud, and we're going to take a look at this catalog entitlement. So as I mentioned before, now it's a lot more clear when a certain division may not be part of your catalog entitlement. I'm in this sample project here, and I'm scrolling down to division 46, which is water and wastewater equipment. When I hover over one of these sections, we now see this visual indicator icon, and that just lets me know that this is not included in my access or catalog, but I may activate, I just will not have edit access. And I'll go ahead and show what that looks like. So let's say I'm a contributor and I know that this needs to be part of the project, but it may not necessarily fall under my role. I can go ahead and click that activation checkbox, and I can go ahead and unclick that as well. Now I'm going to reactivate that. When I go into this,
Looks like we probably might have lost Deborah for a couple of seconds. Matt, do you see the same on your end?
hello, can
Yep.
everyone hear me?
Yes, Deborah, you're
Yep.
back.
Yes.
Sorry, we lost you
Okay,
for the last 10 seconds. So if you
yes,
can go back to the section tree where you were activating the wastewater section, let's, yep.
yes, let's quickly reset. Technology never likes to work with us, does it? So yes, as I said before, so I've activated this particular section. When I now click into it, and hopefully I don't get lost into the void again. When I click into it, we get that snack bar at the very bottom. So this just lets us know, comment mode's enabled. You do not have access to the section due to catalog restriction, but excuse me, you are able to view the section and go through any comments, create comments as well. Now I'm opening up this right-handed panel over here. This is the document manager. Has a lot of great tools within here. And when I open up document map, previously this was restricted for any contributors. Now you're able to very freely click through and use this to actually navigate through the content of the section. Now this, is really useful for those really, really long sections when there's maybe 1,000 lines of text or plus. So we're really looking forward to seeing how you all use this going forward. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to transition now from the catalog entitlement to a sample project again. I'm going to navigate back to the section tree, and I'm going to drop into this Division 3 concrete. So if I open up RAB maintenance of concrete, we'll actually see that this is currently in use by our team member, Will Kennedy. And if I go ahead and open this up, this will put me into comment mode enabled. Now, the main feature here that we want to showcase, if you look at the very top right up here, we'll see that we have these newly added user avatars. So this lets you see in real time, who's viewing this section currently. You can review it together, add comments live, and it really is a powerful collaboration tool. Now, if I actually click open this Bubbles panel, it'll actually tell me each role as well. So it lets me know that Will is the editor, I am the viewer, and this viewer list can, extend as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and actually unlock and edit and kick Will out of the section. Sorry, Will. And I'm going to show you all how we can, quickly be flexible in terms of collaboration. Actually, before I do that, I see that we have another team member that's joined, Nish, and you will see that that list has populated and it increases. So this can, increase very largely. We can, keep this going, and then you can all collaborate at the same time together. Okay, so now let's go ahead and kick Will out of this section. I get this little pop-up. I'm going to go ahead and click Unlock and Edit. When I do that, this will do its little process. It'll kick Will out, and now I'm able to actually make edits. So I can, make an edit here, and I can actually view up here at this top right now. It has now been updated, and I am now the editor, and Will is a viewer, and Nish is also a viewer. So it's, real time. It really gives us that flexibility to switch roles, make edits, and not have to, kind of finick with the controls. Okay, nice. Thank you so much for joining me in this avatar demo, both Will and Nish. Now I'm going to transition over to the share modal. So I have it pulled up here. I'm going to exit out of it and just start from fresh, just so you guys can all see where this is, what pathway you need to take to get here. So I'm at the dashboard level under projects. I'm going to go ahead and share this first sample project. When I click the three dots on the right, I'm clicking share, and this brings us to that overall modal. Now I have some sample email addresses here to quickly show you the limit, and I'm going to go ahead and showcase this. So previously, like I mentioned, this was only one singular email address at a time. You'd have to put in an email and then exit it out. Now we can even bulk add all of these email addresses. We do have a maximum limit of 20 collaborators per invite. So I'm going to knock off this last user, and that brings us to that 20 count. Previously, we also had a add a message area for the share modal, but it was a bit nested, so not always super visible. So we want to pull that out and make it really obvious for you all when you're collaborating with your teams. So I can add a quick message, please review this project and let me know your thoughts. Now, I won't send this out just in case these are real emails, but when I scroll down, this will also let me, adjust the section access. I can adjust the permissions from view, comment, edit. I can also restrict printing, share active view only as well. If I click this open, it allows some more flexibility, which is some existing features. We've also added this contributor badge on the bottom. Let's say, in this example, there's only 2 contributors, but now it provides you a quick glance at, how many contributors have I shared this with. Maybe you have 100 plus contributors and teams. That'll let you know, how many people this has been shared out to. Yes, so these are the main collaborative review changes. We'd love to hear your feedback, and please let us know if there's any other requests that you think would really help improve your collaborative workflow. I'm going to pass it back to Matt and Nish, and thank you so much. Go ahead and
Thanks, Deborah.
stop sharing. Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
that. Matt, whenever you're ready, let's continue with the other enhancements.
Alrighty, so we have a few enhancements. And make sure I got my screen ready to go. And one of those deals with editing of choices. So previously, I'll go into a section here. I've got a choice created. Okay. So let me go, I don't have a choice created, so I'll create one real quick. So I'm going to go in here and let's say I'm going to do a single select, which is, and this is one of the enhancements we've made. So it's kind of confusing the terms that we use for choices. And now we've simplified it to say if you want one option at a time, it's single select. And if you want to select multiple options in a choice field, it's multiple select. So we've cleared up the verbiage there, make it a little bit easier. Let's say if I'm going to go ahead and add in some custom text. I'll call it option 1, and I'm going to add another one, and we'll call that option 2. And my typing's not the greatest today, I see. And I'm going to go ahead and drag that into the document window. So now I've got my choice in there. Now, it's a great feature. So whether you've already added a choice in there or you are creating a new one and you realize, oh, wait a minute, I can only choose one option at a time. I meant to be able to select both if I wanted them. So previously, if that was the case, you'd have to delete the choice and then edit the choice over again. Create the choice over again. Now you can come in and say, I really want it to be a multiple select type, save your edits, and now you didn't have to recreate the choice, you just changed the type. And so now you have your multiple select. Additionally, with the edits on the choices is maybe you say, okay, this is the and, say option 1 and option 2, but you wanted it to be or. So you can make that change, save the edit, and now you've got the or type of a multiple. And you can do it in reverse. Maybe you wanted this to be single select instead of multiple. You can edit. And of course, in this case, because it's a single select, only the first option is going to be selected at this point in time, but you would save the edits and now it's back to a single select type. So instead of deleting and recreating, now you can simply edit the structure of the choice for faster choice maintenance as you go on the fly. Another item that we have made an improvement to is commenting, that comments that just don't get lost easily. So here on this paragraph, sequence 33, I have a comment. Do we want to be specific here? Now, this is a user paragraph, so if previously, if I were to delete this paragraph, the comment would get deleted too, and then it's just gone. Well, now we give you the option to keep that comment. So if I delete the user paragraph, or you want to delete it? Yes. It sees there's a comment there. The paragraph branch you are deleting has comments attached to it. Do you want to retain the comment? If you say no, the comment is gone. If you say yes, the comment will actually get moved to the parent of the paragraph that you're deleting. So now the comment is moved to sequence 32, which was the parent of the paragraph I just deleted. You have a little red border here with a pop-up. This comment originated with a paragraph that has been deleted. And the reason for moving it to the parent is so the comment would stay generally within the branch of what it's relevant to. It wouldn't just get arbitrarily placed to a branch that really doesn't have anything to do with the comment. Now, at this point in time, if I haven't done something to clear out my undo buffer, if I realize I wanted to keep the paragraph, I could undo. The paragraph comes back, and because I chose to keep the comment when I deleted it, the comment will get restored back with the paragraph to sequence 33. So make it a little easier for you to retain your commenting, give you the choice so that you can do that. Another item that we have is when you have a section ID, and of course you can add user sections, we just demonstrated that earlier with the import from Word. In here, I've added a paragraph to reference one of my user sections. One improvement we made is if you really want it, previously you couldn't tell which version of the section you were looking at. You might have multiples of user sections in here with the same section ID. Now, if you notice in the pop-up, the author is included, so you can tell exactly what section this is referring to. So that's a huge improvement there. But also, let's say, and that was .02 user 1. So let's say you're doing some maintenance on your project. Maybe this is your office master, and you come down here to user 1, and you say, I don't need that anymore. I'm going to delete that section. You get a pop-up. This section has references in other sections listed below. And I just showed you that in 06-1000, there was a reference to this section already in there. So you don't want to necessarily delete this section now because you know that you're referring to it from other sections. So it gives you that reminder. You can go ahead and delete the section if you want to, or you can cancel the deletion and go into this section and make sure that that reference is still relevant. But it gives you that pop-up so that you don't lose connection with any of your content. So we do also, in addition, have a couple of additional features or improvements that we've made as part of the bulk import. The conversion to reference standards, it used to be that the reference standard had to be typed exactly as it is in the reference standard library. But now, and we have a lot of users with reference standards in their Word document that might have some spaces or some dashes that's not an exact match for what's in the reference standards library, but now it doesn't matter. So it'll still recognize it and convert it to the appropriate reference standard, even if there's spaces and dashes around the reference standard in the Word document. You'll also notice that a lot of places where it used to be the suffix for the section, we'd have the section number and then we'd have a suffix. We changed the terminology to author, so that should be prevalent throughout the entire experience where you have an opportunity to edit the author field, what used to be the suffix. Now we refer to it as the author. I did mention that the section IDs and the tooltips tells you exactly what section ID and author the section ID refers to. And we also have, I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of the import so we can go right into a section. Let's cover this one real quickly. So previously we had notes that were orange for master, and then they were a different color for the user added notes. And so now, in addition to the color, we also put a P for project notes and an M for master notes to make it easier for users to identify when there's a master note or a user note. And then one quick item for those who like to use sheet specs, we have added a feature where additional space is added between the end of one section and another to make it easier to identify on sheet spec output when one section ends and another one begins. All right. And then we do have a couple of fixes that I'm sure that many are looking forward to. We have, anytime there's a document at the very top in the tags, at the very first paragraph has an NP or an NS tag. It's not intended for those sections to print. And so now we're enforcing the rule where a section that has an NP, NS at the very first paragraph, you might use that as an internal checklist document, but you don't want it to print and go to outside users. So now it won't print. And you'll get a reminder in the print menu when your project contains any NP or NS tag sections, so you're aware of that. Another item, and you may have noticed, is previously the section ID and title showed green section ID, but a blue title. Now we shored up that, so when it's a single section ID, the entire enhanced text item there should be green, and now that it is. We've also, another item with the import from Word is we increased the ability for the system to import user sections with the paragraphs at the correct level. Normally they do that, but there was a certain percentage where there were some hierarchy issues. Now that hierarchy has been fixed, so we have better consistency on the paragraph levels for the import. And we do have some various code and data fixes that likely customer specific, and those have been applied as part of the release. Okay, over to you, Nish.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. I think we went through a lot of features and enhancements, but our release notes detail these out in a greater to a greater level of specificity, and we've sort of deliberately left out a lot of smaller enhancements and fixes as part of this discussion. With that being said, we would love to get your feedback with a quick little poll that's going to show up on your screen shortly, just to understand how you would gauge this release with respect to its effectiveness to your business. So, if you don't mind, let's take 30 seconds to figure out how this release stacks up against your expectations. I see a lot of activity in the polling widget, so I really appreciate everybody's participation. Okay. With that being said, we'll wrap up the poll in the next couple of seconds. Awesome. So let's continue a couple of updates. We can open up the floor for some Q&A. Will Kennedy from our team has been manning uh, the polls section and the quiz section for questions. So, Will, do you want to address any specific questions that you've seen that remain unaddressed? So, I see a question from Robert from Atkins related to if you need to kick someone out of a section, do they get a notice before the action? Robert, unfortunately, not. They don't get a notice that they're being kicked out, but they just switch automatically to the comment mode per se. So I think we do envisage that there could be a suboptimal experience and people just hey, you're probably sort of typing something midway through and somebody's just swapped you over. However, the whole intent behind the development of that feature was to address some legacy issues around how sections were getting locked in the past, where our best practices do suggest that hey, if you're done working in a section or you're done with the day, if you're using this multi-tabbed approach, please don't just close the tab. It would be great if you could navigate back to the section tree because that was leading to some artificial locks, and we're still working on cleaning up that, but that was impacting a few of our customers. But this is really sort of push the envelope when it comes to real-time sort of collaborative edits. As a few of our customers wanted to go down that path where, hey, you're in a collaborative review mode, something like how Bluebeam sort of runs their collaborative sort of review sessions in the Bluebeam Studio session, and we wanted to bring something similar, like a collaborative session, review session experience within SpecLink as we speak. So that was the basis of that. But to answer your question again, to summarize, if somebody who's getting kicked out of the session, who's usually an editor persona, they would not receive a notification that they're being ejected out of the session. This is, I think, a great feedback, but they would instantaneously be migrated to a comment only mode, and any of their changes that they were working on do get saved when that snap, when that transition occurs as such. So the data loss is going to be minimal, if if never, at the end of the day. So I hope that addresses your concern. Okay. Uh, so I think Lisa is talking about importing multiple Word docs is great, but when will we be able to add PDF documents to our projects to add forms, tables, etc. So, Lisa, we've been working on a feature which is in its early access stage. It's a closed pilot for select customers. We call it supplemental docs. And what it's designed to be is to sort of serve this need, which is you can upload right now as we speak PDF documents in there, and you can specifically attach it to a given section, and that helps you with the slip sheeting concept that you're probably doing well, outside of SpecLink. You're probably assembling project manuals where you're sort of either referencing external content or physically slipping in those sheets in a digital realm. So that's something that we've already worked on. It's in a closed pilot assessment right now. If you would love to give it a try, please feel free to sort of reach out to your account manager. We can have you sort of give it a try and see if it meets your needs. But that's a separate module within SpecLink, which would allow you to do that as we speak. But again, just to be clear, that's a different kind of import. The whole concept behind word import is that it sort of what we internally call SpecLinkifies it, which is it adds that embedded intelligence within SpecLink, which is it creates these reference standards articles for you. It creates the reference standard cross links. It sort of reconciles the reference standard versions. It sort of creates intelligent links between different articles. As such, it converts your choices into intelligent choices. It sort of, and then we're sort of expanding on that in our future releases. We're going to expand support. Call this as a teaser, but we're going to expand support for notes of all kinds, for greater unit of measures, and things of that nature, so that you can get started within SpecLink quickly at the end of the day. So that's the whole intent uh, behind the whole import process. So that's where I want to sort of draw the fine line, which is we can't do that with PDF imports because of various flattening techniques and sort of PDF production techniques at the end of the day. So what we call as a PDF import is going to be a dumb sort of attachment, literally like slip sheeting it, whereas the word import literally adds intelligence or extracts intelligence from that Word document to power your SpecLink workflows at the end of the day. So that's that. Sorry, we've been having some tech issues where Matt and Will and Deborah are getting kicked in and out. So my apologies, but I'll try to keep going at the questions. I see a question from Douglas, who's getting error message more frequently when closing a file, that the file might not have been saved. Is this a result of heavy traffic on the system? So I think this, I'm going to address this question, and this is also going to be a request for anyone who's facing slowness or traffic. I think I'll be the first one on this call to admit that we have had our issues with performance, but that's back in our that's been more of a historical thing. Over the past 1 year, we've sort of proactively worked on performance, and we have a lot of proactive monitoring on our end to review performance. So just straight out there, performance should not be a concern. However, if you are sort of encountering any of this, please reach out to our support team. We would love to sort of collect diagnostics as and when that occurs, so that we can sort of address any issues as we see them. However, SpecLink does not have any performance issues. I know there've been some for our long-term SpecLink users, and I appreciate you for sticking around and for your trust in the system. I know that we have had issues in the past, but since the past 1 year, we have sort of worked extensively towards addressing that. And I know it could be misconstrued as, hey, the Pacific time zone sort of now waking up and that adds to the server loads and all of that. But hey, we have infrastructure which balances that load to make sure that everybody gets the optimum experience. So it shouldn't be an issue. But if anybody on this call is facing that, please reach out to our support channel, and we would love to sort of address those concerns right away. Okay, I see a question from Rob. So when a user exits a section improperly and it shows in use, would they be listed as the owner and you'd be the viewer until you took control as the owner, and they'd still be listed even though they're not in it? Is it correct? Okay, so I'm trying to understand the context, Rob. I understand what you might be alluding to. Yes. So what's going to happen is, let's say, Rob, I'm just going to name names, but let's say, Rob, you're working in a section and you, for whatever reasons, that it shows that the section is locked by you, but you're not literally in there, and let's say Nish is trying to access that section. So step one, from my user experience, I'll see that you see the lock icon. When I click on that on the section, it'll tell me that, hey, Rob Bendix is still in this section. We'll see your avatar over there, and I'll see that small toast message that Deborah was showing us. When I sort of hit unlock and edit, uh, that's when the avatars should still remain, but we also sort of run a background check, and hopefully Rob should be eliminated from that list if you're no longer active in that section. So it should take care when you sort of unlock and take over edit control. But if you don't see that, please let us know in either case. So it should self correct as soon as you sort of take over control as we speak. Okay, so I have a question from Marietta. Do you have any plans to update the picture insert so that if I scale the picture, I can change just the width and the height, adjust to keep the same proportions? I would say yes, Marietta. However, just to be clear, it's not part of our upcoming release, which is 25.2. However, we are working on uh, late in 2025 or early 2026, we are trying to significantly upgrade our whole editor experience. So we know that there are issues related to sort of tables, headers and footers, extended support for fonts, uh, pictures, and things of that sort. So we are significantly enhancing our core editor experience as soon as we're done with right sizing our import features, the collaboration features, the supplemental docs feature that we spoke about, and then we have an intermediate focus on on stabilizing our BIM workflows as we speak as well. And then we're gonna shift focus to the core editor experience. However, we'll try to figure out some wiggle room if we can get something to provide you temporary relief as we speak. Okay, so I think with that being said, I think there's a question from Perry related from Lam Corporation related to our BIM capabilities, which is, has there been any progress on BIM models to accept current Revit versions? I would say yes, Perry. I'll probably take 30 seconds to provide some background. So SpecLink currently supports Revit models from model years 2019 through 2024. We we do acknowledge that we have fallen behind the curve in terms of supporting 2025, but it's principally got to do with our ability to work with Autodesk and the way our viewer works. Long story short, between Revit 2025 and Revit 2026, and this is going to continue into 2027, Autodesk is increasingly reducing the amount of data that is available in the metadata once a Revit model is exported out of their systems. This is probably part of a long term strategy for them to keep everybody within their ecosystem. And that's impacted us the most because there were a certain data types that we were looking for to run our spec recommendation algorithm and our model conversion algorithm, which got severely impacted starting 2025, and we couldn't get a workaround that. We have finally had to bite the bullet, and we are working towards a dedicated Revit plugin, which seems to be the only way of being able to extract certain data types. At the moment, it's in a closed beta mode right now. We know a few customers who extensively use our BIM feature, and we will be inviting you as we come closer to the finish line over the summer to test this feature out, and then we'll sort of open it up for larger adoption. So to summarize, starting the summer or through the summer of 2025, we will be wrapping up our internal pilot of a dedicated Revit plugin as well as a web-based viewer. So you will no longer have a desktop viewer. We'll be transitioning to a web-based viewer. We might have some transition plans for people who are still using the desktop viewer as we speak, but that's the long-term direction that we're heading towards. That's happening over the summer, and a few of you can expect to be invited over to test that out, uh, if that makes sense. And then we'll continue development of our BIM capabilities. Such. Okay, so with that being said, I would like to start moving towards the conclusion of this webinar. I have an exciting announcement to make. We had sort of spoken about some inklings of SpecLink Labs, which is our innovation platform, where we would like to invite you, our valued customers and users, to directly contribute to the evolution of RIB SpecLink. Uh, this is a means of us providing you early access to some cutting edge features. So I think you heard about me talking about, hey, a couple of these features that you're wanting are in these close pilot programs. We would want a wider participation by the community in that. And we would love to sort of keep getting your feedback in shaping the product direction. And we would like to collaborate with industry peers to drive the next generation innovations in the AAC industry. So that's what the whole attempt with SpecLink Labs is. We will be formally rolling out a sign up campaign starting next week, and we would start having our first sessions of SpecLink Lab come June. Deborah is going to play a huge role in leading that initiative, along with Matt and Will supporting them. Again, we are going to sort of limit the participation, and we're going to sort of list out a couple of themes that we would like your participation in. So we'd be breaking it out by cohorts. This would need some time commitment from you all. At the end of the day, we we envisage up to 10 hours of engagement per theme. By themes, I mean it could be things like, hey, the future of the link engine, uh, the future of digital twins, how can we have enhanced quality control, how do we sort of eliminate more mundane tasks and things of that nature. And we would be using really lightweight tools, so no specialized tools, but we'll be using Miro, just Microsoft Teams and GoToWebinar to sort of collect your feedback. So again, we would love for you all to participate as such, and we would love to sort of hear more from innovative customers like everybody on this call. With that being said, I would like to sort of emphasize again that please leverage the training resources. The SpecLink guide is a wealth of resource for both new and experienced SpecLink users. So please use that. We have the SpecLink Essentials training literally twice a month, and it's all free. So please use that to just get up to speed with the new features as needed. And again, the 3 hour long sort of in-depth sort of new user training by Gary and Alex, that's just a wealth of knowledge. I mean, me personally, I keep attending that just to get my bearings straight as well. So that speaks volumes about uh, the effectiveness of those trainings as well. But please use these. With that being said, I would like to also draw your attention to the next Spec Talk, which is scheduled for June 11th, so immediately after AIA 2025. And we're going to be having a spec writing consultant, Corinne, who's going to be joining us. And she's going to be talking more about her experience of making the leap of faith from the trusted word processor to SpecLink, her sort of trials and tribulations, and sort of the oodles of improvement and productivity that she's gaining from SpecLink. But it's just sort of a casual sort of uh, opportunity for the community to connect and know more about her practices as well. With that being said, we're always looking to sort of grow the Spec Talk community. Again, this is less about RIB. This is more about the specifications community. So, hey, if you want to sort of jump in and talk more about a topic that's passionate and near and dear to you, please, we're always looking for presenters. So please feel free to reach out to us at spectalk.nam at ribsoftware.com. And we would love to sort of have you sort of lead one of those sessions. With that being said, AIA is around the corner. So AIA 2025, I believe the conference this time around is in Boston. A large contingent of the RIB family is going to be there, presenting both SpecLink and SpecLive. Uh, so if you're going to be in Boston, even though if you're not attending AIA, please feel free to sort of stop by and say hi at booth 2277. That's booth 2277. We're going to have probably this a similar background and probably familiar faces over there. So we would love to have you over there in the next couple of weeks. With that being said, I would love to sort of thank everyone who attended the webinar. We truly appreciate your time and commitment to SpecLink. And with that being said, we hope that these improvements add a ton of value to your workflows. With that being said, please have a great rest of your week and a relaxing Memorial Day weekend. And thank you again from the crew here at RIV SpecLink.